So, Mucho Amor Lifestyle Podcast, where it's all about entrepreneurship, traveling, advices for the bar industry. And today I'm having Timo Janse with me. You are a well-known entrepreneur who is based in Amsterdam, but you are also well-known beyond the Dutch bar world. And I'm sure the listeners will learn some new things for their own enterprise. And in a very brief, a couple of sentences, maybe you can introduce yourself quickly to us.
Sure. So, hey, my name is Timo Janse, and I am. We're here in Dutch Courage, one of my cocktail bars. And before that, I was born in the Netherlands, and I went to Amsterdam to study economics. And there, throughout different angles, the world was telling me about bartending, and I found my real calling, I would say, and I found that there is one talent that I have, and that is for bartending, and I enjoy it very much. And the years that after I found that out, I just spent learning and reading a lot and improving myself, and that led me to become the bar manager at Door 74 for about 10 years. And after that, with Tess Posthumus, that I worked with over there, we opened our first bar, Flying Dutchmen Cocktails, and that led to our second bar, and it also led to me creating my own bar show and a few other things that we might talk about later.
Nice. Yeah, so basically you are the mastermind behind so many amazing projects, but what I figured out with you cannot keep your feet still. And I would like to know, where does your entrepreneurial drive comes from? Like you still develop new projects like the Revolution Cherry or the edible cocktail gummies you just let me try on the
Yeah. So usually things I get excited, and first of all, I just get excited about things, and then I get interested. I have a wide field of interest, and I think in the cocktail world there's so much that you can develop in, and when you start learning about certain things, you can also sometimes get frustrated because certain things are not there. So in fact, the first time I actually started my own business was not a bar. I was actually saving money to open a bar, but I got so annoyed by the fact that our bar show was bought by a bigger service industry event just to kill it. And that frustrated me so much because I saw the dangers of not having a place where the community could get together and learn. And as I was learning myself still a lot, and I felt that I had to set aside my dream to open a bar. I had to set it aside for a moment because there was a bigger issue at hand, and that was to create a bar show. And at the time when I started thinking about opening my bar show, everybody was like, oh, you cannot do that as a person. You have to be a business. You have to do tra-la-la. But I had a strong feeling that I had a good idea of what to do, what to create, as I was an adamant visitor of bar shows. So then I created it, and that's really where my spark came, because when I created it, I found that all of the people that said I couldn't do it, I could actually do it, and it wasn't that hard. I still do it, it's still a part-time thing that I do. So that kind of drove me. Usually I just see a need, or I get annoyed by something, or I feel that something is missing, and then if I feel that nobody else is doing it, I feel that it is a cause that I have to do, and then I start doing it. And then, and it was the same with Flying Dutchman. In fact, Flying Dutchman, when we opened the bar, we were really looking at something that was missing. What would we feel was missing in the bar scene at the time? And what we felt was missing in the bar scene at the time was the cornerstone of the cocktail community. There were a lot of bars that were opening and only did like signatures, or only did like really complicated things, or stuff with a lot of molecular and things like that. And we felt that, what was really missing was a classic cocktail bar that did all of the classics the way they're supposed to be made, with quality ingredients and a lot of care taken into the ingredients as a whole, instead of making signature cocktails. And so that really became the ignition to create a bar, which in our idea has a real true function in the community as a whole. And that's really what drives me with a lot of stuff, actually.
Very nice. And how do you get actually all these projects under a roof? You know, like maybe you have any tips on how to achieve
Well,
balance?
well, in fact, like I have a great, girlfriend, mother of my beautiful daughter,
Exactly.
Lux,
That's, we have to
and
add as well, like your father as well. So you're
yeah.
traveling a lot, you're judging cocktail competitions, you're participating, and then you do brand related trips. How the hell you get all of this under a roof?
Well, I have the deal with my girlfriend that I am no longer allowed to add any new projects until I stop one of them. And some of the times the frustrating things, like for my girlfriend is that, I don't stop, because for me, the calling is not so much about making money. It's about the importance that I feel that something has, like, so I am usually not that much driven by financials. Luckily I have, enough money to survive, like, so I make enough money to pay my rent. So money for me is a compliment. If something makes money, it's just an appreciation from the market that shows you that you're on the right track. So one of the frustrating things for my girlfriend is always that she says, like, stop, pulling this dead horse, like, stop trying to make this thing work. It's not working, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, but it's too important. You have to,
Yeah.
I have to put my energy in it. So sometimes she kind of grounds me and tells me, like, because at some point you look at the world, especially when you feel that you can achieve, because I believe I'm a strong believer that everybody can achieve so many things. All of us can achieve many things if we will put our minds to it. All of us, in fact. And that sometimes it's overwhelming. Like I see a project and it just makes my hand itch. I wish I can tell you some of the projects that I have in mind, but I cannot, because I still want to do them at some point. But I think that is kind of the thing, that the situation where I am right now is that, like, I have to drop something or give something to a next person that I have to give it to the next person, that I will have to do it, or that and that is the case. And I think that fatherhood as well was quite obviously a quite important factor in my life, really showing that, before that I was super work driven, maniacally work driven, and becoming a dad really kind of changed the perspective a little bit, like that you need to also make time for your family, at that time is also well spent. So there's that too, but nevertheless there are still many things that I feel that are missing, that are interesting to do, and then it's just a case of doing the stuff that you enjoy the most as well. I think that's something that I've also learned, is that life is really too short to do things that you really don't enjoy. There is really no need to do stuff that intensely frustrates you. Obviously, there are moments that that you enjoy your work more than others. There's also times where you have to kind of push through. But if the doing a project that at its base you don't enjoy doing, or you're not enjoying where it's taking you, then you really should start thinking about an exit strategy, because there's not enough time in the world or in your life to be doing stuff you don't like.
Very, very powerful words of you. And also you're a very humble person, like listening to you, which is one of the major keys you need to be a good bartender. Do you have any other attributes you would like put on the table, or a bartender should bring with him?
Sure. I feel strongly about this subject as well, is that, I think we had, in fact, we had Angus Winchester, the great Angus Winchester, over a few weeks ago into the bar as a guest shift, and he talked about what it means to make a great bartender. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said, we spent decades, the past 2 decades, training mixologists. Now we have to start training bartenders. And I think this is true in a way, is that we put a lot of focus on the craft, which is very important and was for sure missing at the time when I started bartending, 100%, don't get me wrong.
The creativity.
But we also have to look at the other side to it. And so for me, another quote comes to mind, that when I talk about the ideal bartender in our bars, I would say that it is the bartender that is covering another person's shift because they are ill or something, as they have just fixed the dishwasher, and that are making the drinks that are on the menu in a correct and hospitable way. And this sounds very simple, but it is not, because that is all there is to it in my book. So as you can see, things that are missing in that equation. So things that are missing in that equation is that, you don't have to know every little detail about the spirits. You don't have to be an award-winning bartender. Yeah. But what it is very important about is that it is about understanding the process of a bar, which has to do with things like the dishes, which has to do with things like the Wi-Fi working, which has to do with a lot of things that are not sexy at all, but that are very important. And it also has to do with teamwork. And I think the perfect bartender is not the star quack, is not the guy that is, that has the biggest social media following. Of course, all of these things are nice, and I don't want to bash on that at all. But at the end of the day, for me, the ideal person that is in your team is really the guy that puts the whole team together, and that puts the team forward, and that drives the whole of the bar forward.
Love that.
And I think there should be way more emphasis on that. And I think that is, for me, is a sign of the best of the best. If
totally agree with you. Very, very powerful words. Like the attention to all the details, and like the powers of the observation, let's say, like as you said, like from the Wi-Fi to whatsoever, which
understanding the process of what it takes to get the drink to the guest. Obviously, this has to do with putting the guest forward, but how can we get to the point where the guest is comfortable, that the guest wants to come in? There are so many factors at play. It's lighting, it's smells, it's touch. This is beauty of all of these complex factors, and you can never stop learning about it. But it is also the importance of the whole. I was just reading the great book of the Schofield brothers, in fact, and they also said some powerful words there that, like if your bar, like in the UK, for them, they shared with me in the book that 30% of the average bar is sold in wines, like 30% of their revenue. But the bartenders doesn't know anything about the wines, but they do know about this obscure drink that nobody orders. There is something wrong with that, So in our training, we put a lot of time and effort also in putting trainings about the coffee machine, how it works, how to maintain it, about the wines that we serve. Why did we select these wines? Why are they important? And all of these are just as important as your knowledge about, about drinks, because the guests will order these drinks, and you have to make sure that you are attentive to all of these machines, to all of these things that you sell, as much as you are attentive to knowing your craft and being understanding the details about it.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Very, very important. And you talk a lot about your team, we depend, like as bar owners, we depend on a very strong team, and not only as a bar owners, even if you play a part in the team. And how do you choose your team and the guys working with you? Do you actually check out their CVs, or you trust your guts? You talk to them?
It's about all of those things, but I have always been a big believer in I am not looking for, like now we employ almost 20 people. We grew from 6 people to almost 20. And I do not believe in looking for copies of myself. Like I don't want 20 copies of me. What I want is a beautiful collage of people that bring strength with them, that make this tapestry into a whole. So it's actually quite a complex question of like, okay, somebody is leaving. What did this person bring to the table in this tapestry? Like, did they have a really good skill at punctuality, at hygiene? Like, was that their strength? And what weakness does it bring that they are leaving? Like, so, and trying to fill that, that void in your team, or was it the great mind? Was he or she an artist? Like, were they a creative mastermind about creating drinks? What is their leaving, like, does it mean for my team? How is that the key aspect that I need to foster in the team and create. It's also about keeping a close eye in the team communication and the team culture. I think it's also about fostering a positive culture of your team. In fact, a lot of our time is spent about who we want to be as people, like in general, like about, one of the key things that is important when we give a training is that we never, ever want to have ego. It is not in our nature, and it's something of a red flag, I would say, when hiring somebody. I think it's a very dangerous thing if you have, let's say, like I said before, like a quarterback bartender, and they are doing really well. But if they bring in an ego, they bring the entire team down, and now it becomes a very dangerous thing in your team. Now because if I foster that, if I say like, oh, this bartender or he or she is winning all the awards, we should all look at him or her, then we are creating an idea where putting yourself above the guest is something that we value, which is definitely not what we value. With us, it's all about, it's our team is actually very democratic. So we don't have barbacks, we don't have, waiters. All of the team does all round, is working all round. So we don't have interns. Everybody with us comes in and has as much to say and comes in with as much ideas as the other person. And I think that is important, that people should feel free to express their improvements and their ideas. And I think only then you can continue to grow. And I think it's a great, for that, I think in the Netherlands, it's really nice that we are here, because we have the luxury that we have a lot of different nationalities that are willing to work with us. Like my team consists of people from Turkey, from France, from Italy, from the Netherlands, of course, as well, from Germany. So all of those backgrounds, all of those cultures, those languages, like they influence the possibility of doing it, of improvement, and I think that's really nice, but you need to foster it, and you need to be open for it, for these different ideas. So so I think that is something that comes to my mind when hiring people. But then again, let's all be honest, we're not in a very picky culture right now, luckily I think we have the luxury that we have a lot of in-house training, and I have good operating managers that keep people improving and keep a good eye on people's levels and places of improvement, and it's an ongoing process. Obviously you dream about having, I think for a bar owner, the dream is you have one team and they just grow and then nobody ever leaves and you have them for 10 years. This is not the reality. People come and go, they develop in different ways, and ideally you have them for a period of time, and then you have to continue to start again, and then start again, and it's a circle as well, and you just have to be sure to get the right people into the circle, and then to get people up to speed quickly. So have good SOPs, have good understanding of what is important of your team members is another key factor for sure. But that's exactly what I just said, is that a lot of our package, when you come and work with us, a lot of it is about communicating what I just said, what for us ideal bartender is, and a lot of that has to do with a mindset and openness and sharing and growth. I think those are very important words for us, and communicating that is what we find important.
Love it. And you guys are really nailing it. Like, I have been in your bars, and the team, the communication, that's why I wanted to have you in the show, and I think it's really, really powerful advices. Especially if someone out there is dreaming about their own bar, maybe that could be also some words of you. What do you have, like share some tips on how to build up a bar concept, maybe?
I agree. So I think first, it ties a few things together. First, I think you should feel like, what is the concept of your bar? What's the need? What is the reason of your place within the community, of the bar community, but also within the street? whenever me and Tess, we are looking at opening a new place, we always try to combine the location, the street, the neighborhood, with the demand and the concept that we can bring this all together. So that's a big first step, so that you can quickly be able to explain what this bar is about, why this bar is in the location it is in, and what the people is that it is for. You know, like what are the people that it's made for. And then you start to look at the people that will fulfill, you know, like your message and your goals. And then, of course, team is everything from that point on. You know, like I think that's the only way to grow, that you do it as a whole and as a team. I never dreamt. I mean, I never dreamt to open up and then just work 60 hours a week behind the bar, and you know, whenever I am not there, I get complaints, and then I just work all the hours that it's open. This was not my dream, you know, because then you are I don't know if you have the same expression in English, but in Dutch you would call it, you're a slave of your own business. Then you are a slave, and you can never leave because you don't have it in place. So I think it's important that you then give the trust to the people that you employ, and not micromanage them, not go on your camera and watch them 24/7, but give them the trust, give them your baby, and then manage, you know, like where they are taking your baby from that point on, and just kind of manage the road that the bar is taking. And I think that is important. And I think in general, from people that are dreaming to open their own place, I think everybody, like I said before, everybody has the tools to achieve a lot of stuff. I believe everybody does. I think the other side is that everybody is inherently lazy. So you know, if you don't have to work, you don't. So what I have found very useful in my life is that I work out little tricks to get me out of bed, to get me to do stuff, you know, like, and these little tricks, they work differently for everybody. So it's mental tricks, it's tricks to trick your body as well. It's physical tricks as well, to trick your body into doing stuff. Because if you are fed and if you are rested, your body will tell you to just sleep, not do anything, but you have to find ways to push yourself to get out of bed and achieve things. So for me, for instance, if it were Tess and me making the jump and quitting our jobs, even though we didn't have a location and we didn't know if we were going to open a bar, I would have been like, okay, I already have a job, you know, like, okay, and nothing would have ever happened. But the reason it did was because we pushed ourselves to quit our jobs, say like, listen, in 3 months, we have no salary, we have no jobs, we have to open a bar or we're going to be bankrupt, you know, like we have nothing. We have money from our parents, we have our own savings, you know, like, but we need to find a location. This pushes you to get out of bed and then every day say, listen, we must find a place. We have no choice. We have to make this work. This pushes you to achieve your goals, because you're with your back against the wall, you know. And I think if you're serious about opening your own place, you have to get out of your comfort zone, how dangerous or scary as it is. You have to push yourself to go the distance and open it, and then you succeed or you fail. There are many factors, but if you keep dreaming about it, you will still be dreaming about it when you are 70, 80 years old, and there will always be reasons not to do something, not to risk something, because it is risky. Entrepreneurship is by definition super risky. Look at COVID, scary times, you know, like it's not going to change. It's always going to be risk. You have to be risk averse. You have to be a risk taker. Otherwise, you're better off being employed. Because if you want to live risk-free, then you have to be employed.
I agree totally with you. I mean, now we also opened our second bar during COVID, and I love it, as you say, it is the Parkinson law. Like, if you give yourself 5 hours to fulfill a task, you will take 5 hours. If you give yourself a week, you will have a week. But if you give yourself only an hour, you will achieve it no matter what. And it's very, very powerful advice of you. Really, thank you. Um, let's get a little bit closer inside the bar now. When it comes to a menu, how does a perfect menu look for you? Like, what are the different pillars maybe you take? Of course, it's different from bar to bar, but all the menus I've seen from you were brilliant, amazing flavors.
It's I think it's tricky. Like I come from a place, you know, at Door 74, I had, as a manager, I had complete freedom, which was great, you know, completely free. We did menus in view, find everything
Yeah.
I put my mind to, I put the team in. So again, like you said very, very correctly, it's all about executing the concept and thinking about what it is you want to achieve with your menu. Do you want people to order quickly? Do you want to impress people? Do you want to excite people? What is your communication? What is it you want to achieve? That's first and foremost for your menu, and then to execute it. I come from a more economic background, which is usually not very useful at all, even as an entrepreneur. But it is very helpful when you're creating a menu, because at least I have a basic grasp of numbers. Obviously, the numbers need to work, and your administration needs to work as well. Your back of house needs to work. Otherwise, you will still fail, no matter how perfect your menu is, because, you know, the rent needs to be paid and your staff needs to be paid, and that's even more important. So you have to so that side needs to work, and additionally, you have to work within your concept, and you have to also guests at ease. You know, like I think, you know, like of course it's nice to create a menu that's going to impress your peers or other bartenders, but you also have to pacify, you know, like the average guest that has no understanding of cocktails. So you need to include them as well in your storytelling. So you need to create tastes, explain it in however way you can to get them on board. So I think it's good to, when you create a menu, this is a tip for me, have it proofread by somebody who's not a bartender at all, and then ask them if they understand it. You know, for instance, my girlfriend is she always proofreads a lot of my menus, a lot of my text. Like, does this make sense to you? Like, as a non-professional, does this make any sense to you, or is this just gibberish and you have to be like super nerd to understand it? Because, you know, like I have always learned that with the menu, I always have a big example in mind. We once did a drink. It was a really good drink with cachaça, and it was a strong drink like Manhattan, but great drink. But one of the ingredients was chocolate bitters, and we got a lot of complaints from the guests because it said chocolate. Yeah, and people expected chocolate, sweet, creamy drink. Yeah, the Dutch consumer expected it, and you did not give it to them. There was chocolate in there. You taste the chocolate, for sure. But the guest was not happy about it, you know? So you have to put yourself in those shoes and say, if you're going to put the word chocolate in there, yeah, imagine what people will think and how they will react to those words that you're putting in front of them. I can remember a great strawberry martini that we once put on the menu, like a dry martini, but with a strawberry, you know, element to it. Yeah. Oh, people were not happy. People were not happy. So these sides you have to take into account as well, and also play your fan base. You know, like if people are loving this from you, give them what they want. You know, like it's also a business. You know, if people are loving what you are doing with, you know, drink A, you know, give them more of drink A. You know, if this is your best seller, if this is your best margin, if this is like your workhorse, give them more of the workhorse, you know, like, so don't go off on a high horse and try to feed them something that they're not interested in. Look at your current menu and say like, hey, this is doing really great. People are loving this. Let's do more in that spectrum, you know, instead of saying, hey, this is not working, let's do more of that, you know. So those are a few tips, but you know, this is a complex matter that also differs culturally as well, which is, I know, is not something that is a popular thing to talk about because it deals with people's tastes and nationalities. But it is true that people bring, like I just said, they bring their background for cuisine with them. It also means that the Dutch palate is different from, you know, the US palate. It's different. It is, you know, like it's about people upbringing. So if you want to create fans, which in the Netherlands is a very important factor, like we don't have a culture like many of the countries around us. If we want to create fans for the next generation, we have to get them on board. So, which means we have to understand what flavors they are looking for, and we have to take them on this journey with us, because the beauty of cocktails is that it is everything. It's all the flavors in the world. There's nothing not to love about it, because but we have to get off our geeky, arrogant horse, and we have to make it democratic, make it something that is enjoyable for everybody, of all class standings, of all ideas, and make it something that everybody will love, because it has the potential for everybody to love it. I truly believe that.
I agree. Lovely advices. Like all of this, we could basically put into a top-notch book for hospitality bartending. Timo, thank you so much. Maybe as an outro, you can tell us where can we find you in Amsterdam, maybe your Instagram handles or whatsoever, social media.
Sure.
And
sure.
Your favorite drinks. Or
yes.
Your favorite drink to drink and to mix.
Sure. Well, it's both the same. So nice. My favorite drink is a vieux carré. Why? Because it's easy to make. It shows that you know something about it. Almost every bar in the world can make it, and it's very robust. So no matter the cognac you're using or the rye, it will always taste delicious. So it just shows that, like, hey, I know what the drink is. We're speaking the same lingo. I will make it for you. It's not a difficult drink to make. It's going to be delicious, and we're going to have a good time. So, if I am visiting your bar, I am looking to have a good time. I am not the type of guest that's going to give you shit, because I am not like that. So I am there just to have a good time. And if you can facilitate me in having a good time, it's going to be a beautiful time. So that's on my favorite drink. Then so Instagram. So of course we are at Perfect Serve Bar Show. I am findable at Timo Janse, which is just my name. It's at Flying Dutchmen Cocktails. It's at the handle Dutch Courage Cocktail Bar. So like all of those, you can probably reach me. I am also on email. Most of the time, all of the bars that you email, you will get to talk to me. I am also the phone number of both of the bars. So in a lot of cases, if you reach any of these things, you will start talking to either me or Tess. So, which I think is also an important thing, a tip for business owners, is that when people try to reach you, try to be that point of contact. So that means that if people are calling the bar, they're talking to me personally, which means that I already control the narrative, and I will know all there is to know about their questions that they may ask. So I think that is a good spot to position yourself in, because then you know what is going on in your business, and you can explain to the guest what is going on and what they can expect. Yeah, I guess that's it. So we are in the center of Amsterdam. You can't miss us. I'm right here. I can always almost see Central Station from here. So you can't miss it. You can't miss it. You come by. We're open almost always. So yeah.
I can't wait to be back. And I think say hi to the Candelaria guys. I think they're
they're in tonight.
Chris, good friend. Thank you so much, Timo. And if there is anything else, contact him. And he's such a humble guy and open to answer. If you are a bartender looking for a great mentor, maybe you guys hiring at this moment, I
usually we are.
Lovely team. And thank you so much. Mucho amor.
Thank you. Have a good one. Love. Thanks, bye.